Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Liam's Fight Night Picks over here on the STBX YouTube channel. The year may be winding down, but that doesn't mean the fights stop. We have two fantastic weeks of fights left this year, and I'm delighted to say to get stuck into all the action with me for this week, I'm joined by Håkan Johansson. How are you, my friends?
I'm all good, thank you.
Good, yeah. So, like I say, we may be getting towards the end of the year, and we don't always get big fight cards, do we, in December? But this year's certainly delivering. There was fights of both Britain, America, and, of course, in Europe with Pulev and Char last weekend. And this weekend, we're going to focus on two British cards, but there is plenty of action around the world, across the world as well, isn't there? So the first focus of our attention is going to be Box's end-of-year cards in Liverpool. Probably not the most exciting of cards that there could be about. There seems to be a few fights on there that you'd rather just see the fighters come together. But hey, one of the criticisms of UK fight fans has been Boxer has gone missing, hasn't it, the second half of 2024. So at least they're ending the year with another show as opposed to dragging it out into 2025. So the first fight we're going to look at, Håkan, is Stephen McKenna and Lee Cutler. This will be over 10 rounds for the WBC Silver International title at £154. Look, the belt is irrelevant on this fight. We sort of know the direction that McKenna's moving in, hopefully towards Commonwealth and European honours in the new year. It's his second outing of the year after his 3-round firefight with Joe Laws over the summer. Have you been impressed with McKenna so far from what you've seen from him?
Yeah, this fight will not last more than 3 or 4 rounds like the one at Barnsley.
Yeah, that's my thought as well. McKenna's got an exciting come-forward style. Always goes out swinging for the fences from early on, but he's also showed against Laws the ability to slow it down when he needed to and pick a finish. Okay, it came at the back end of a 3-round firefight, but he actually had to recompose himself in the second round, didn't he, after Laws stuck it back on him. And that was impressive. In the opposite corner is going to be Lee Cutler. Lee is 14-1. It's his first outing of the year. He's had roughly a 366-day layoff, so just over a year by Saturday night. His sole career defeat was to Bradley Ray back in 2021 via first-round stoppage. So you could say he was caught early in that fight. You never know. If he wasn't caught, he may have gone on to deliver the performance. He has more experience over the 10 rounds. This is only McKenna's second fight scheduled to go 10 rounds, of course. Could that experience pay dividends in this fight? Do you reckon Cutler could be able to take McKenna to a place he's not comfortable with going?
I don't think so. I'm so impressed with Stephen McKenna. So I think he will stop Cutler early.
Early. So your prediction? So we're going to a prediction for this one then, mate. What round are you predicting a McKenna stoppage in?
I think he will go outblaze and like he did at Barnsley against Laws. I think it will be. He can get caught on the counter when he like Laws did, but I think he had learned something from that fight too, and so. I think I will say a stoppage round 5 then.
Okay, yeah, I'm similar to you, mate. I don't think it's going to be quite as explosive as Barnsley. I think his corner may kill him if he comes out and has another fight like that. So we may see a more measured approach from McKenna for a few rounds, but Cutler's had a lot of inactivity. McKenna seems to be heading in one direction, and hopefully with a stoppage victory here, which I'm predicting for him as well, he'll move on towards Commonwealth, European honours as we move into 2025. So we're both in agreement on that fight. The next two fights we're going to cover from the Boxer card. They're both main events in their own right, aren't they? So we'll start with what's being billed as the co-main event, and this is Lauren Price against Becky Mateus. It's 10 rounds for Lauren's WBA and IBO 147-pound world titles. Look, for me, Lauren Price was a very impressive amateur. She's moved into the professional ranks and she's not put a foot wrong. However, if I was to have one criticism of her, if you watch her fight and you watch the first couple of rounds and then you say you go off, you make yourself a cup of tea and have something to eat, you come back in the 10th round, it will look exactly the same as what you've seen. So one accusation of Lauren Price could be that her style of fighting is very rinse and repeat, isn't it? It doesn't seem to have many gears to move through. She seems to plod along and do just enough, doesn't she?
Yeah, but she has more or less won every round in every fight. So I think she will do the same in this fight. And Lauren Price wanted the Tasha fight now, not to wait for it. So I know that Lauren Price has seen some interviews that she wanted them to fight now for the big fight in the division for boxer. But Tasha wanted to have Habazin first, and then they have the fight maybe March next year if both come out victors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Lauren's made no secret that she wants to sort of have the Battle of Britain with Tasha Jonas. And I mean, they're at different ends of their career, so I can understand Tasha wants to try and pick up another belt and make that fight even bigger for her. But Lauren Price, obviously, her breakthrough performance was against Jessica McCaskill last time out. And if we're honest, that was a very impressive performance. McCaskill's been there, done that. She's got the T-shirt.
It was very impressive.
Yeah, McCaskill couldn't get going. Lauren Price was perhaps starting to show that she's transitioning into being a pro now. It's the end of her second year as a professional. She's already a world champion. She's starting to show signs that she's making the transitions from an amateur point scoring style to a more professional style, which is more fans friendly, if you'd agree with me there, mate.
Yeah, I've been to 2 fights with Lauren Price. The first one was the Shields Marshall in London 2 years ago. And the second one was the first British female title fights ever against Kirsten Bevington in Birmingham last year.
Yes. Yeah. So, sorry, go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. So I have both Lauren Price and Tasha. I've been to a few fights. So I'm looking forward to this card more than most people. If you checked on X this week, loads of people are not happy with Boxer.
It seems to be the fun and in-trend thing to bash Boxer. Look, I'd be more upset with Ben Shalom if he didn't put a card on in December. He's left us waiting until next year. At least he's given us a card. We just touch on Mateus quickly. Yeah. She's 7-0 with 6 KOs. She has 3 first-round stoppages, doesn't she? Which is, not something you often hear of, especially in the female fighting ranks. Lauren Price is going to have to be on her mettle early, isn't she? Because there's a sign there that Mateus starts fast. And if she catches Price early, then all the best laid plans could go up in smoke, couldn't they?
In my opinion, she hasn't faced anyone near Lauren Price quality. So I've seen a few female fighters from South America, from Argentina mostly, some from Brazil, that the record looks good if you look at they are 7-0, but look at what they have faced.
Yeah, it's something we call over here in the UK a padded record, definitely. It looks good on paper. We're going to find out how much it stands up on Saturday night. So I'll move on to a prediction for this one, mate. Listen, how do you see this fight going?
I think Lauren Price will dominate from the first bell and win every round, and then unanimous decision. I don't think Lauren Price will knock her out. I think it will go to points, but she will win every round.
Yeah, I tend to be in agreement. I see Lauren Price dominating this fight. I don't see a stoppage, and I'd be more surprised if she loses a round on the scorecards. It's going to be a wide unanimous decision victory, and Lauren Price will hopefully be able to then move on to start getting the credit she deserves in 2025. She's done everything asked of her so far, but she's not going to really start getting her flowers, is she, until she maybe has the fight with hopefully Tasha Jonas, who we're going to touch on now. So the main event in Liverpool at the Exhibition Centre is Tasha Jonas against Ivana Habazin. It's 10 rounds for Tasha's IBF and Ivana's WBC titles in the welterweight division. Look, it's the second outing of the year for Tasha. She's now ticked over to 40 years of age. If we're honest, for me, Michaela Mayer beat her in January in Liverpool. I know herself, Tasha and Joe Gallagher have said, no, we won that fight, but it was a contentious decision, wasn't it? She's now had an 11-month layoff. Is there any danger at the age she's at now that an 11-month layoff after not having the best performance last time out could have a negative effect on her?
I don't think so. I think Tasha has wanted and Michaela Mayer wanted the rematch, and they had agreed of the rematch for the June card, but it didn't materialize by boxer. Both fighters they had agreed of the terms, but it didn't happen, and then Michaela Mayer fought Sandy Ryan in September, and Tasha. I've watched some interviews with Tasha in the last few months, and she thought that that boxer will give her a date in October first, after the June, but it didn't happen, and then this card was announced. It was talked about a very long time, but it didn't announce until 4 weeks before. And I'm pretty sure that Tasha and Ivana have known about this date for a very long time.
Yeah, look, Joe Gallagher's come out and said as well, hasn't he, that he's not particularly happy with Mr. Shalom for he's called out not just how he's treated Tasha, he's called out a few other fighters as well and said, look, they've been promised fight dates since the summer. And at this point, this was a couple of days before we got the announcement for this card on Saturday night. It's a difficult one. We know Tasha wanted to right the wrong that the public saw against Michaela Mayer for whatever reason, be it Ben Shalom not giving her the fight or whatever the politics is behind the scenes there. We're now in this position. She's looking to add another strap, which will be the WBC title. Let's quickly touch on her opponent, Ivana. It's her first defense of the belt. She picks it up in April of this year. Look, she's known to us fans over in Britain for fighting Terry Harper last year. She may have lost that fight via unanimous decision, but we saw her give a good crack in that fight, and I think it will be similar on Saturday night, won't it? She's not going to come over and just give up her belt. She's going to have a good go against Tasha, isn't she?
100%. And that fight, Terry Harper was to fight Cecilia Breckles in Dublin. I was in Dublin. And that fight was postponed after the weigh-in on the morning. And then Terry Harper had 2 fight weeks, 2 weeks in a row. So it was tough for Terry too. But for Ivana, she took the fight on less than a week notice. So Ivana Habazin did very well with just a week notice, and won. I think she won 3 rounds. 97, 93 was the judges, and I felt when I saw it that she won a couple of rounds. So now she has prepared for maybe. I know that she had been in Colombia and trained hard for a long time for this fight, Ivana, and so I think she will come and will be very well prepared for this fight.
Yeah, I agree. There's no way you're going to come over for your first world title defense knowing there's a second belt on the line and not be in the best physical and mental condition possible. So I am looking forward to this main event. For me, as long as Tasha Jonas hasn't completely fallen off a cliff face over the course of this year, then I believe she will have too much and she will pick up another belt in this division and lead towards the Lauren Price fight. Don't believe there'll be a stoppage. I believe it'll be a 10-round points victory for her. How about yourself, Håkan?
I think it will go to points, and Ivana will take a few rounds. So I think Tasha will win. Similar like Terry did, about 7-3 points win. 97, 93. I think Ivana could take 2 or 3 rounds, but Tasha will win pretty confident.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus of this fight. So we're going to leave Liverpool behind, and we're going to put on our...
I can just regarding Ivana Habazin. I was at a fight in Sweden 8 years ago when her only loss on KO was in Sweden 8 years ago for the WBC welterweight title against Mikaela Laurén in Sweden. And then she has been in a few world title fights, and she has only lost in world title fights. And Ivana Habazin doesn't have a promoter. She has a manager that help her a lot. And so I'm very happy for Ivana that she got this fight. First, that she won the WBC title when, and then she got a big payday here when she doesn't have a promoter. So when she won the title in Zagreb, she paid a lot by herself with help from the manager. So for Ivana, I'm very happy that she got this chance to get a big payday.
Yeah, absolutely. All fighters deserve big paydays, don't they? So hopefully Ivana is getting paid handsomely for this fight, and win or lose, it will be money that can hopefully set her up for a life outside of boxing as well. As you know, boxing isn't...
Yes, 100%. And a unification fight for boxer will be much more than she has earned in most of her fights.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So we're going to leave Liverpool behind now. We're going to head across to Monaco. We're going to put on our best dinner suits, and we're going to spend some time with Prince Albert, aren't we? As Matchroom are going back for their annual bonanza that they like to do by royal appointment. It's probably one of the most unique cards in boxing, isn't it? It's just about 2,500 people in attendance. Royalty's always there. Everyone's always on their best behaviour. It's probably, without ever being myself, I would say it's probably the most unique atmosphere you're going to get in boxing, away from obviously the COVID bubbles that we had to endure for a couple of years. Some good fights on this card. The first one I want to talk about has the potential to be my fight of the weekend, and that is Garry Cully against Maxi Hughes over 10 rounds. Garry Cully is 18-1. Look, for me, there's questions still to be answered about the Irishman. When he's on the front foot, he can look really good. When he's letting his hands go and he's having his way with an opponent, he looks sensational. However, when an opponent starts hitting him back or things aren't going his way, he has the tendency to look like he's unraveling Cully, doesn't he? What version of him do you think we're going to get on Saturday night?
I think that he has learned of his loss. That his loss in Dublin was very surprising, and Lewis Crocker beat them. I just forgot his name now, the Mexican, but Lewis Crocker beat him easily last year, I think, after Garry Cully has lost against Jose Felix.
Yes, I've just got Jose Felix. Jose Felix.
Yeah, and so I think he has learned from the loss there, but Maxi Hughes is a world level fighter. So I like the fight, and I think it could be, like I said, fight of the weekend, not just fight of the card.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we'll move on to Maxi Hughes. Look, he's a battle-hardened and proven former British and, only IBO, but an IBO world champion. It's his third fight of the year. He obviously dared to go over to America on a golden boy card and take on William Zepeda. Came up short in that fight. Absolutely no shame to that. And since then, he's had a bit of a comeback win on a local dinner card in Leeds in September. Look, we know what he's going to do, Maxi Hughes. He's going to sit on the chest all night. He's going to be on the front foot, and he's not going to go away unless you force him to go away. That could actually be a nightmare for Garry, Cully, couldn't it? Maxi Hughes' come forward, fast, aggressive style could be all wrong for Garry, Cully, couldn't it?
Yeah, but I was at the Maxi Hughes fight in Sheffield in September at the GBM show. And I wasn't impressed with Maxi Hughes there, but I think he overlooked his opponent. This fight, he will not overlook Garry Cully. So he will come into this fight with a different sort of... He knows that Garry Cully is a tough opponent. So I don't take so much about his early rounds in Sheffield before he knocked out his opponent, the Greek opponent he had on that card.
Yeah, look, I don't think you can read too much into that last performance, like you say. He wanted to get out. He wanted to get back in the win column. And obviously, by getting back in the win column, he's been provided with this opportunity. I'll come to you first for a prediction on this fight, mate. How do you see Garry Cully and Maxi Hughes going down over in Monte Carlo?
I think it will be a very good fight, and I think it will go to points. I think Maxi Hughes will take it in the end, but it could be a majority or a split too. I think it will be a very close fight.
Yeah, I tend to be in agreement with you, mate. I think it's going to be a close, competitive fight. We'll know a lot by the end of the second round if Garry Cully's going to be comfortable dealing with how Maxi Hughes is going to come on to him all night. If I'm really honest, as much as I like the character of the diva that is Garry Cully, I'm still not completely sold on him. And I just believe that Maxi Hughes could be all levels of wrong for him if Maxi Hughes still has anything left of that run we saw of him when he was on that 5-fight streak during 21 and 22. So for me, I'm going to predict Maxi Hughes via a points decision, probably a split decision. I reckon it's going to be one of those fights that you can really pick them. But yeah, look, I think it'll be Maxi Hughes, but Garry Cully can answer a lot of critics, including myself on Saturday night, and show that he has learned lessons. But as we both said, it has the potential to be a fight of not only this card, but the fight of the boxing weekend, full stop, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
We'll move up the weight divisions now to cruiserweight, and it will be Britain's Clarke taking on Leonardo Mosquea over 12 rounds for the European cruiserweight title. Mosquea is the current European silver champion. Who knew the European EBU had a silver belt? I didn't until I was doing my research into this fight. Mosquea is 15-0. It's his first time fighting in the UK. And it's only the second time he's been outside of either France or Belgium, which is kind of where he's based his career around. He had a limited amateur record. He had 5 fights. He lost 4 of them and only won 1. Does he have it? Does he have the ring craft? Does he have the experience to test an Olympian in Clarke, do you reckon, on Saturday night?
No, and the European silver is a very good for a fighter who wins the European silver. They got a ranking at number 4 or number 5 on EBU. From they can come from more or less nowhere and get a chance of a European silver, and then get a chance for the regular European title pretty fast. So I think it has done this for Clarke's opponent here, the Frenchman.
Yeah, definitely. I meant no disrespect. It's just I wasn't aware that they had a silver belt until I was doing some research for this fight. So
I know it for years, but
fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Learn something new every day, Håkan. So moving on to Clarke. He's 10-0, 7 stoppages. Picked up the British title in May this year. Stopping Elisoro in 8 rounds. that knockout was kind of put everyone out of their misery with that fight because it wasn't the most attractive fight, shall we say, on the Catterall and Taylor undercards. Went out to America on Diego Pacheco's card in August and got a majority decision points victory. Look, we know Chev Clarke. He's an Olympian from the delayed Tokyo Olympics. He's turned over, and if we're honest, he's done everything asked of him, hasn't he? I don't believe he should be considered as a title challenger in with the current crop of cruiserweights, but for me, Chev Clarke is leading the way for that next generation once Opetaya, Zerdo, etc. either move up or retire from the sport. What do you make of Chev Clarke?
I rate Chev Clarke very high. I think he can. I think he would do very well against Chris Billam-Smith, even, who has had a world title. And so I rate him very high, and I think he will stop his opponent here, the Frenchman.
Yeah, look, for me, Chev Clarke is on a certain journey, and this is another notch on that journey. I believe on Saturday night he'll get victory via stoppage. I don't think he'll come in all guns blazing. He'll look to respect his opponent, try and feel him out for a few rounds, but I'm predicting Chev Clarke with a stoppage around the middle rounds of the fight. Where are you leaning with this one?
I'm leaning a stoppage for Chev Clarke, round 6, round 7.
Yeah. Look, it will be a good fight. It will be another notch on the journey, and then we can look to see. We know Eddie Hearn's high on Chev Clarke, so I'm sure we'll have some big plans for him in 2025. Perhaps a homecoming in London to defend his European title could be on the cards. He's been on the road quite a bit during his career, which is great for an up-and-coming fighter, but I'm sure he'd love an opportunity in London with a European title on the line. So it leaves us with one fight to talk about, Håkan, and it is the main event from Monaco. It is MJ Akhmadaliev against Ricardo Franco. It is 12 rounds for the WBA interim title at super bantamweight. Firstly, what do you make of the matchup?
I think MJ is way too good for his opponent. I think he will dominate from the first bell. But I haven't watched his opponent, so maybe I could be wrong, but I rate MJ very high.
Yeah, look, MJ is a very special talent. The former IBF champion in this weight class, I believe, before he lost the belt to Marlon Tapales in April 2023. He wasn't expecting to lose that fight, and it says a lot about a fighter with how they came back. And his 8th round TKO victory in his comeback fight was exactly what he needed. He's had 12 months outside of the ring now. A mixture of injury layoffs, contractual issues, etc. have got in the way. It's good to see him under the Matchroom banner, and he's now back fighting. Look, there's a monster in the room in the corner. If MJ wins this, he's the interim champion for one of the belts that Inoue holds. So I come out and ask you the question, how would MJ get on against Inoue, do you think?
I think that he could do better than most of his opponents, but I think will stop him maybe a bit later than he has stopped his opponents. So maybe round 7, round 8, if they fight. But I'm not sure that I think Inoue doesn't want MJ.
No, that's all the rumours are that Inoue would rather take other routes in that fight. So it'll be interesting to see. Look, so I can't get accused of any bias here. Let's touch on Ricardo Franco quickly. He's 30-4 with 25 stoppages. From having a brief look at his record over the last few days, he's limited opposition. He's undefeated since 2021, which was the last time he challenged for a world title. So is this another case of Franco's in a good position with the WBA and he's the one they've gone down the list and picked him to be the one in the ring with Akhmadaliev? It seems like a perfect opponent to have after a 12-month layoff, doesn't it?
Yes, I agree with that. With a layoff for a year, it's a good opponent for Murodjon
Akhmadaliev, yeah, absolutely, mate. So I think I know which way we're both going with our prediction here, but just so we can have it in the can, how do you see the main event in Monte Carlo going down on Saturday night on the Zone?
MJ will dominate from the first round, and I think he will stop the opponent in maybe round 6, round 7.
Fair enough. Yeah, for me, Akhmadaliev is going to look to make a statement on Saturday night. Not only has he had 12 months out of the ring, but this belt has an attachment to Inoue, who is a global superstar who can not only offer him a huge fight, but the financial incentives from that fight as well could be life-changing. So he's not going to look to dance around for 12 rounds and win on points. Akhmadaliev is going to look for a stoppage. I believe he'll get it in spectacular fashion. I'm saying between rounds 5 to 7 for MJ Akhmadaliev on Saturday night. So with us coming to the end of that fight, that wraps up this week's predictions and another episode of Liam's Fight Night Picks. Before we go, Håkan, you're a great person to follow on social media, fantastic insights. You travel around to a lot of fights. For anyone that isn't following your yourself on social media, what is your handle on X or any other platforms that you use?
I'm used every platform. I have Facebook, Instagram, and X. So I use every. So I have a lot of fighters on Facebook, on my Facebook account. That there are a lot of fighters that are not so active on X, but they do a lot of posts on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, that's good. So I've popped your X handle in the banner you can see along across the bottom of the screen. If you're not following Håkan, make sure you do. Big supporter of the female fight game as well as the male fight sport, and always insightful when he does get involved in comments. From myself, as you can see, my handle is at Liam_Tully9. As always, thank you for the support with this show since we launched at the back end of the summer. We have one fight week left after this, and it is a monumental fight week. It is the rematch between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. We also have the Little Monster going on Christmas Eve, which I'll look forward to next week. My guest will be Matt Elliott from The Counterpunch. I look forward to seeing you then. All that's left for me to say is if you like what you see, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below if you agree with our predictions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.